So Hughie Fury wants to return back to the ring to take on Oleksander Usyk, and he believes that he's the man to get the job done. Oh, Hughie Fury. And let me counterpunch. 31 years old, 6'6". Of course, he's the first cousin of Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. And after a long layoff, he fought 3 times last year and once this year back in April, where, you know, that's a nice little recent resume, I might add. But him taking on Usyk, it would be, I think he's out of turn. I think when I don't really entertain a lot of people or the idea of anybody else fighting Oleksander Usyk except the person that's supposed to fight Oleksander Usyk. You know what I mean? Like, we have all these people calling out Usyk, and I mean, it sounds good because that's the ideal fight for anybody. That's why Daniel ducked Joseph Parker to get the opportunity. That's why Joseph Parker wants to fight Usyk, to get the opportunity, because that's the ideal guy to fight and defeat. Little, you know, just really getting in the ring, getting an Usyk fight is a chance of a lifetime because he has every single belt there. He has them all. So why not want that particular fight? You know what I mean? And I think that Hughie Fury coming back, calling out Usyk, is just him putting his bid in. Now, I'll say this about Hughie. I'm disappointed how they really dicked around Michael Hunter like they did, because he fought 3 times last year and then once this year, where Michael Hunter hasn't fought professionally in a long time. You know what I mean? I think he fought once last year, whereas he couldn't seem to get well enough to fight Michael Hunter. So I gotta say that, just me thinking about Hughie Fury for a minute, and I know he had his conditions and all that stuff that I learned about him, and my condolences. You know, I don't really like, you know, conditions, because everybody has, you know, people have conditions, people have stuff that they go through. I get it, but to me, it seemed convenient, too convenient for him, you know, to fight all these other guys that you've never heard of and not Michael Hunter. You know what I mean? Because he thought Michael Hunter would be, you know, a banana peel, right? So I think that, if anything, he should have fought Michael Hunter before fighting Usyk. Needless to say, a guy that actually fought Oleksander Usyk when he was cruiserweight, Michael Hunter. You know, so, you know, I have to say that. But an ideal fight for, ideally, a fight between Hughie and Usyk, I think it would be a decent fight, because Hughie is like, he fights a lot like Tyson Fury used to fight. If you guys can remember, his fighting style is, he's pretty much on his feet, and he's a mover. And anytime when Usyk deals with a mover, you know, he has to attack. And when you get Usyk on attack mode, he's mostly going forward. So since he's mostly going forward, that's your chance and opportunity to attack. You know, you still have to deal with the windshield wiper head movement and upper body movement, along with the irky and jerky and the feints. You still got to deal with that, but you know which way he's coming, because he's mostly coming forward, especially if you're circling away from him, trying to create space for your own shots, right? And, you know, a guy 6'6", he's taller than Usyk, and he's able to get him off. And what we learned about Usyk is, the style that gave him a challenge was Tyson Fury. Hughie fights like the old Tyson Fury, not the Crunks Tyson Fury, but the older one, the big guy that can move and box. Well, Hughie can do the same thing, but is he better than Tyson Fury doing it? No, he's not. You know what I mean? So I still don't really give it any speed, but it would be interesting based on the style alone. But you guys tell me what you think of Hughie Fury calling out Oleksander Usyk, and he believes that he is the guy to beat Oleksander Usyk. Of course, please subscribe, leave your comments below, like and share, and you all been Counterpunch. Peace!